Item 15, reserve revocation recommendation, West, South and North Auckland. Look, gentlemen, welcome. Carl, and also if there's any others, everybody, Andrew, on here, just to introduce everybody online and yourselves, that'll be great. I will be moving this recommendation, and Councillor Casey, if you're okay to second.
Yeah, I'm okay to second, Duffy.
Kapai. So, Carl, who's going to start first and just introduce the team online as well? Kia ora.
There we go. Got it. Sorry. I don't go well with technology. Ngā mihi o te wā kia koutou, ko eke pānu ku mahia ho, ko Carl me toku inga wā. I am a portfolio specialist. With me is my colleague Anthony Lewis, who is Senior Advisor Portfolio Review at Eke Panuku, and coming at you from the ether is Letitia Edwards, who is the Head of Strategic Asset Optimization at Eke Panuku. Purpose of this report, threefold. Firstly, to seek approval to submit a request to the Minister of Conservation to uplift the reserve status of 3 sites that are no longer required by Council for reserve purposes. That's Brandon Road in Glen Eden, 67A Glengarry Road in Glen Eden, and part of 24R Linwood Avenue, Forest Hill. Secondly, to note that staff recommend that the committee accept the recommendation of the independent commissioners not to proceed with the reserve revocation of the following sites. That's 13 Davern Lane in New Lynn, 11R Birmingham Road in Utara, and 8 Magnolia Drive in Waiuku. And thirdly, to recommend that a resolution on Trojan Crescent be deferred until the next term. This is because conversations are ongoing with Kaianga Ora, and we will report back to the committee at a later date. A bit of background, I'll try and be quick because I will take it that the report has been read. These properties form part of the emergency budget that were approved for disposal on the 16th of July 2020. These sites had been identified by council staff prior to the emergency budget as no longer required for reserve purposes. This was on the basis that properties did not meet the criteria set out in council's open space policies. Following the resolution, Eke Panuku, on behalf of council, has undertaken iwi and public notification under Section 24 of the Reserves Act 1977 for these reserves. Due to the large volume of submissions received, independent commissioners were appointed to consider the public submissions and to hear anyone who wished to be heard. There were 3 hearings. The properties here in this report were heard in February 2022. All submitters were invited to present their submissions at the hearings, and the relevant local boards were also invited to present their views. So, Commissioners' recommendations, briefly. Brandon Road, Glen Eden, the Commissioners supported the reserve revocation, subject to conditions, this being that the site provides an existing public walkway, and it would be appropriate to protect this access, possibly via an easement, if it were to be sold by council. 67A Glengarry Road, Glen Eden, Commissioners support this reserve revocation, and 24R Linwood Avenue. The Commissioners also support this on the grounds that the access strip does not appear to be used very widely, and there is a wide formed entrance just 3 doors up. Moving to the properties that they do not support. 13 Davern Lane, they do not support this one as it's valued at the heart of the local community. 11R Birmingham Road, Utara, they do not support this one on the grounds that it provides an important convenient area of recreation space for workers and the local childcare and the local church. 8 Magnolia Drive in Waiuku, they do not support this one. There's no supporting arborist report for the notable tree. And as the tree is located at the rear of the site, public access would be almost certainly lost. And finally, with Trojan Crescent, which we are recommending to defer. Kainga Ora, the adjoining landowner, is planning to undertake a wholesale redevelopment of that site. Their redevelopments include open space. So incorporating this reserve into their property would enable a wholesale and holistic redevelopment that would eventuate in a better open space outcome. That's my report, and we are ready to take questions. Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Anthony, anything from you?
No, I'm just here to support Carl and answer any questions.
Goodbye, Letitia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only thing that I would add is we will work with Kainga Ora to get a better understanding of what their plans are for the site, noting, of course, that it will include improved open space outcomes, but what we're hoping is something that can show some visuals of that before we report it back.
Goodbye.
Nothing further from me.
Goodbye. There's no apartheid. Oh, and now there is. Councillor Coombe.
Thanks, Chair. Kia ora koroa. I just had a question on page, let me just find it again, 271 of the agenda for Davin Lane. And I know this is not recommended for sale, but I just was curious about the wording in paragraph 5. This is your report. This is your attachment, right? Is that correct? It says that with the mature trees, council ownership is not required to protect the trees because of the tree protection under the unitary plan is in place. Now, does that mean that the trees are scheduled, or that theoretically, if council was minded to go through a process to schedule them, we could?
We could go through a process to protect them. There are provisions in the unitary plan to protect trees, so one could have the trees scheduled, or more simply, perhaps, one could place a covenant on the title identifying and protecting that tree.
Thanks, Chair. I guess as we're deciding not to sell, but if there was a process that this was going to get taken forward, I would suggest that just needs to be probably made a little bit more clear around what would actually be a process that would be put in place around tree protection, so that we don't get in a big pickle down the track when we haven't actually scheduled it, because it's actually, as we know, it's quite difficult to do that process. So yeah, I just think that's perhaps a little bit too generic.
Well, through the chair, we note that.
Yeah, just through the chair, that paragraph 5 was based on the open space assessments against the policies. Subsequently, we actually had the urban forest team assess the site, and they've given their advice that the trees are valuable and council shouldn't dispose of the site. The large putakawa is one of the only tree in the area from the original property before it was subdivided approximately 20 years ago. So paragraph 5 is based purely on a policy assessment. It was further work. So.
Great, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. There's still no partai online, so which is a good thing. So look, I'll go to whakaaro, and before I do, and I will see, I think we were going to get some wording, and I haven't seen it, but it is to be deferred, that particular item. So I'm just getting Maya to do it. It's just to defer it because, and I've spoken to the chair of the Faux Local Board. She's happy with the deferral pending discussions with Kainga Ora, because it could well be a win-win situation. So I'm trying to get some wording, just deferred Trojan Crescent, Yulin, following further discussions with Kainga Ora. Yeah, is that okay? I think it's there, and you need to delete the word will from there. Oh, okay, yeah.
Take out will.
Was that Letitia? Was that Letitia? Yeah. Yes, Letitia?
Yes, sorry, I was going to say take out the word will. And
Yeah.
could we potentially say defer Trojan Crescent Newlyn to enable further discussions with
Even
Kāinga Ora?
Even better, because I was waiting for a resolution to come through that are pending further discussions. I was waiting for a resolution to come through, Letitia. I didn't get one, so I'm doing it on the hop with the ladies. Not that I hop. No, this is not a hopping body. Deferred decision and pending further discussion with Kāinga Ora. Kapai, everybody, with that one? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour?
I.
Against? Aye. Against? Carried. Yeah. Okay then. Look, this is the last item, for us to discuss. And it's the investment in Tamaki Makaurau sports sector. And look, just to open up, I will be moving this